I am the greatest, for words, spoken by a young man who hadn't yet proven anything to anyone. For words that would echo through history, not because they were true when he said them, but because saying them made them true. Muhammad Ali didn't discover confidence. He built it, word by word, day by day. In front of cameras and critics and a world that told him to be quiet. This is not a story about boxing. This is a story about the voice inside your head and what happens when you decide to rewrite it. Before Muhammad Ali became the greatest fighter in the world, he had to convince himself he was allowed to be. Louisville, Kentucky, 1942. A black child born into a country that would not let him drink from the same water fountain as white children. Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. grows up in a world designed to make him feel small. The signs on the buildings, the glances on the street, the unspoken rules that shape what he is allowed to dream, and somewhere inside that boy, a decision forms. He will not accept the script the world has written for him. He will write his own. At 12 years old, his bicycle is stolen. He tells a police officer he wants to beat up whoever took it. The officer, Joe Martin, runs a boxing gym. He tells the boy, "You better learn how to fight first." Cassius walks into that gym, and for the first time, he finds a place where effort equals result, where repetition builds skill, where what you tell yourself begins to shape what you become. Imagine being a teenager in a boxing gym, losing more than you win, getting hit, getting tired, watching older fighters who are faster, stronger, more experienced. Imagine the voice in your head, whispering, "You don't belong here." Most people listen to that voice. They adjust their dreams downward. They find a safer story to tell themselves. He started saying the words before they were true. I am the greatest, not as a joke, not as bravado, as an instruction to his own nervous system. He said it to reporters who laughed. He said it to opponents who scoffed. He said it in poems, in rhymes, in predictions that seemed absurd. But more importantly, he said it to himself, in the mirror, on the road. In the quiet moments when no one was watching. There is something most people misunderstand about confidence. They think it arrives after success, that you achieve something, and then you feel confident. Ali knew the truth. Confidence is built in reverse. You speak the identity first. You repeat it until your brain begins to accept it as fact. You act as if it's already true, and your nervous system starts to align with the story you're telling. This is not delusion. This is programming. Every thought you think repeatedly becomes a neural pathway. Every word you speak to yourself becomes part of your identity. Your brain doesn't distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. Ali understood this intuitively. He was running code on himself, installing a new operating system. I am the greatest wasn't ego. It was architecture. But the world does not celebrate black confidence. Not in 1960. Not when it's loud. Not when it refuses to apologize for taking up space. White America calls him arrogant, cocky, disrespectful. They want him to win quietly, if at all, to be grateful, to know his place. The media mocks him, opponents dismiss him, fans boo him. And every time the world pushes back, Ali says the words louder, because he knows something they don't. The mantra is not for them, it's for him. When everyone around you questions whether you deserve to exist at the level you're claiming, the only voice that matters is the one you've trained to believe in you. Ali's confidence wasn't armor against the world's hate. It was oxygen. It was how he stayed alive in rooms that wanted him to suffocate. Here is what the cameras did not show. Ali running at 5 a.m. in the dark, mile after mile, alone with his breath and his thoughts. Ali in the gym when no one else had arrived yet, hitting the heavy bag, drilling footwork, watching his reflection and correcting his form. Ali studying film of opponents, memorizing patterns, building strategy. The public saw spectacle. They saw a man who talked endlessly, who predicted rounds, who danced and boasted. They did not see the man who understood that words without work are just noise. The mantra gave him belief, but belief without discipline is fantasy. Ali knew that to become the greatest, he had to build the skill to back up the claim, so he trained like a man possessed. Like someone who understood that the gap between what you say and what you can do, where integrity lives, he closed that gap every single day. February 25, 1964, Miami Beach, Cassius Clay vs. Sonny Liston for the heavyweight championship of the world. Liston is a nightmare, an ex-convict with fists like cinder blocks. The betting odds are 7-1 against Clay. Experts call it a mismatch. Some worrying Clay might be seriously hurt. And Clay, 22 years old, stands in front of the cameras and says, "I am the greatest. I shook up the world before the fight even happens." Imagine that level of certainty. Imagine standing in front of a man the world fears and saying, out loud, that you will beat him, that it's already decided. This is not recklessness. This is the final stage of mental programming. When the belief has been repeated so many times that doubt has no room left to exist, the fight begins. Clay moves like Liston has never seen. Fast, untouchable, dancing, talking, making Liston look slow and old and confused. By the 7th round, Liston refuses to come out of his corner. Clay becomes champion, and the first thing he does is scream into the cameras, "I shook up the world. I'm the king of the world. I'm pretty. I'm a bad man." The words were true now. But they were true because he believed them first. Days after winning the championship, Cassius Clay announces he has joined the Nation of Islam. He is no longer Cassius Clay, the name given to him by a slave owner's descendant. He is Muhammad Ali. The world loses its mind. They call him a traitor, un-American, dangerous. The media refuses to use his new name. Opponents mock him. The government watches him. But Ali does not flinch, because this is the same principle at a deeper level. You do not wait for permission to become who you are. You claim the identity. You speak it into existence. You refuse to let anyone else define you. Cassius Clay is a slave name, he says. I didn't choose it and I don't want it. I am Muhammad Ali, a free name. This is mental programming taken to its ultimate form, rewriting not just your confidence, but your entire sense of self. April 28, 1967, Ali refuses to be drafted into the Vietnam War. I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong, he says. No Viet Cong ever called me nigger. The backlash is immediate and brutal. He is stripped of his boxing titles. His license is revoked. He is banned from the sport for 3.5 years. He faces 5 years in prison. At 25 years old, in the prime of his athletic life, Muhammad Ali loses everything. Imagine that. You have worked your entire life to reach the top. You are the best in the world at what you do. And the system takes it all away because you refuse to compromise your beliefs. Most people would collapse under that weight. Most people would apologize, comply, try to get back in the world's good graces. Ali does not. He spends those years speaking on college campuses, talking about justice, about war, about identity, broke, blacklisted, unwavering, because the mantra is not about boxing. It's about something deeper. I am the greatest means. I will not shrink to make you comfortable. The government's case against Ali collapses. His license is reinstated. He is no longer the young, undefeated phenom. He is 28, almost 29. He has lost years. His body is older. His reflexes slower. The world expects him to be a cautionary tale. A man who sacrificed his prime for principle and paid the price. But Ali has been repeating the mantra even in exile. He returns to the ring, and he fights his way back to the top. Not because he is still the fastest, but because he has built something inside himself that cannot be taken away by time or government or exile. He has built unshakable belief. October 30th, 1974, Kinshasa, Zaire, the rumble in the jungle. Ali is 32. His opponent, George Foreman, is younger, stronger, and has destroyed every fighter he's faced. Foreman is a terror, The betting world gives Ollie no chance. And Ollie, once again, stands in front of the cameras and says, "I'm going to dance. I'm going to move. And I'm going to knock him out." But this time, something is different. Ollie knows he can't dance like he used to. His legs are older. His speed is not what it was. So he adjusts. He creates the rope-a-dope. He lets Foreman punch himself into exhaustion while Ollie leans against the ropes, conserving energy, whispering to Foreman, "Is that all you got? They told me you could hit." Psychological warfare, the mantra, weaponized. In the 8th round, Foreman is spent. Ollie attacks, a perfect combination. Foreman falls. Ollie reclaims the championship. And he does it not with youth or speed, but with mind. This is what the greatest means, not that you are invincible, but that you adapt, that you find a way, that you refuse to accept the story everyone else is telling about you. Here is the part people forget. Away from the cameras, Ollie was quiet, thoughtful, kind. He visited children in hospitals without press. He gave money to strangers who needed it. He prayed. He read. The public Ollie, the one who shouted and boasted and predicted, was a performance, a deliberate construction. But it was not fake. It was the externalization of an internal discipline. The loudness was how he drowned out the doubt. The spectacle was how he controlled the narrative. Inside, he was a man who worked harder than almost anyone, who studied, who sacrificed, who carried the weight of being a symbol for millions of people who needed him to be unbreakable. The mantra held him together. You are not Muhammad Ali. You will not fight for the heavyweight championship. You will not be called the greatest athlete of the 20th century. But you have the same tool he had, your voice. Right now, there is a story running in your head about who you are and what you are capable of. That story was written by your parents, your teachers, your failures, your fears, the world around you. And most of the time, that story is smaller than the truth. What Ollie understood is that you can rewrite the story. Not by wishing, not by hoping, but by repetition. You speak the new identity. You say it when it feels ridiculous. You say it when no one believes you. You say it until your brain starts to accept it as an instruction instead of a lie. I am capable. I am worthy. I am enough. These are not affirmations. These are commands. But here is the part that matters most. The words only work if you back them up. Ollie did not just say he was the greatest. He trained like the greatest. He studied like the greatest. He sacrificed like the greatest. You cannot speak confidence into existence and then do nothing. The mantra creates the belief. The belief creates the discipline. The discipline creates the result. If you tell yourself you are capable of more, you have to act like someone who is capable of more. You have to show up early, work late, learn, fail, adjust, try again. The mantra is the foundation, but the house is built with work. Muhammad Ali kept fighting longer than he should have. By the late 1970s, his body was breaking down. His speech was slower. His hands shook. In 1984, at age 42, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. The damage from years of absorbing punches had taken its toll. The man who once danced and boasted and predicted became quiet. His movements stiff, his words slurred, and yet. In 1996, at the Atlanta Olympics, Ali walked onto the stage to light the Olympic torch, his hands trembling, his body failing, and the world stood in silence, because they finally understood what the mantra had always been about. Not arrogance, not ego, dignity, the refusal to let the world tell you who you are. Ali spent the last decades of his life mostly silent. Parkinson's had stolen the voice that once filled arenas. But the presence remained. When he entered a room, people felt it. The same energy, the same certainty. Because the mindset was never in the words. The words were just the tool. The mindset was in the decision he made as a boy in Louisville. I will not accept limits placed on me by a world that does not see my value. That decision, repeated every day, became his identity. And even when the words faded, the identity remained. You are speaking to yourself constantly, whether you realize it or not. Every day, you are running code, installing beliefs, building identity. The question is, what are you installing? Are you reinforcing limitation? Are you agreeing with the voices that tell you to stay small, stay quiet, stay in your place? Or are you doing what Ollie did, speaking the truth before it's visible, repeating the identity before it's proven, training your nervous system to believe that you are allowed to take up space in the world? This is not about becoming famous. It's not about championships or legacies. It's about looking in the mirror and deciding that you will not let the world's doubt become your own. I am the greatest. Muhammad Ali said those words thousands of times. In interviews, in poems, in fights, but the most important time he said them was the first time. When he was nobody, when he had no proof, when the world had every reason to laugh, he said them anyway. Not because he knew they were true, but because he knew they could be. And that belief, that relentless, disciplined, repeated belief shaped everything that came after. The words faded, the mindset didn't. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing, not because I need you to, but because stories like this, stories about the inner work that shapes outer success, are how we remind each other what's possible. And here's the question I'll leave you with. What would change if you spoke to yourself like you believed you mattered? Not tomorrow, not when you've earned it. Today, now, what if you started installing that code right now?